Hey, welcome back to another gear review here at Counts Brothers Music in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. My name is Ryle Knight and I'm back again. I'm really thrilled about it because today we're talking about my favorite guitars, a little biased, the Fender Telecaster. In particular, we're talking about the 75th anniversary series they've rolled out to celebrate, obviously, the 75th anniversary and birthday of the Telecaster. Just a couple things that I found really interesting that I didn't know the full story on about the Telecaster when it first rolled out. The first version was, of course, called a Broadcaster, which actually kind of raised some issues with Gretsch because they had a drum called the Broadcaster. So they actually wrote a letter, asked them at Fender not to proceed with the name of that, and they quite literally took scissors and rubbed off Broadcaster off the original, what would become the Telecaster. They simply just scratched off the word Broadcaster and then took them to market, and that's where this whole if you've ever heard of a Fender Nocaster, it was the original push of the Telecaster that they had marked off, the Broadcaster, just to keep things good with Gretsch, and I hope that relationship's still good because that was a pretty honest move overall to do something that you don't see that a lot, especially in modern days of competition. People don't usually do what their competition asks them to, but I think it was a good move because everyone knows what a Telecaster is. I personally don't know a lot of people that know what a Broadcaster is, but anyway, that's just kind of a cool story in the back history of the actual Telecaster. This one is a 1951, pretty true to the actual 51 Tele if you've ever picked up an older Telecaster. The first thing I noticed, of course, is the width of the neck. I did also notice, despite it's kind of more of a vintage neck, it's actually easier to move around on. It doesn't feel as cumbersome as kind of a true 1951 neck, but it's a little more thicker than your modern C-shapes that you're going to find on any of your modern guitars. In fact, some of the other Telecasters in this series do have more of a modern C-shaped neck that one we'll look at later does. But I'm just going to take a little time, play on this thing, kind of show you the variety of tones. As you know, a Telecaster is known for its variety, its ability to kind of lean in different directions, appeal to different genres, and it's really stood the test of time, obviously over 75 years, and my biased opinion, the best guitars ever made. So I'm going to play around for a minute. We'll talk a couple other things about the specs on this thing. But yeah, as always, let's talk and more playing. Well, that was a lot of fun. Obviously, I'm really partial to the Telecaster, but as you can see, the variety of tones that the Telecaster can kind of adhere to, bend in whatever way you want it. And I think you could really just have endless sonic options with the Telecaster. And the good news is, as I've learned, is that Gresh and Fender have become one. There's no beef. And yeah, all the money goes to the same place at the end of the day. So it seems like that was a good investment for them to go ahead and change the name, not only for the fact of good business purposes, but we all know what a Telecaster is. So this is the Player 2. It is another guitar in the 75th Anniversary Telecaster series that Fender has rolled out to celebrate that. It has a nice diamond dust sparkle finish, which is really striking. It's going to be easy to find you on stage with a finish like this, especially if you're playing any kind of funk or cosmic music. I feel like that's going to go perfect. On top of the fact, you're going to get a lot of tone options like any Telecaster. Immediately, the difference I noticed was versus the 1951 is that the neck is the modern C shape. As we kind of mentioned, that was a big differentiator. Kind of between the 1951 and most Telecasters that are modern, you have just a more of a straightforward C neck that's a lot easier for you to get around on. I kind of noticed immediately I wasn't having to think as much as far as putting my chords together or maybe where my fingers were going and making sure I applied enough pressure, because that older style, that's just how older necks are, and most vintage guitars that you pick up, you will find it's just a little more difficult to play. I'd like to think it makes you a better player, really, because if you're able to do things on a more difficult neck, once you get on something that's noticeably smoother, you just kind of feel like it's a walk in the park versus kind of what you're working with that thicker neck. But obviously the pickup on this thing is what really stands out. It's a larger pickup versus a lot of what you find on Telecasters, but I think it adds a lot to the beefy sound. Of course, you also have that Stratocaster pickup on the top, so that kind of helps with your variety of tones you're going to have across the board there. 5 different options in between across the pickups, and usually I stay on the left to mid, kind of gives you that more warm side of the tone, and of course you want the brighter go all the way to the far left. At least that's how I like to keep my Telecasters, to each its own. But yeah, we're going to take some time and check out a couple different tones on this thing just to once again see how versatile that Telecasters are. They've really done an incredible job with this 75th Anniversary series, and the Player 2 is something I would highly recommend. The price point's very approachable for what you're getting with this. Like I said, any genre can be taken care of with the Telecaster, as I'll exemplify here in just a moment. But make sure you get down to Counts Brothers to pick up any of these guitars that are in this 75th Anniversary Telecaster series. Next, we're going to jump and check out a bass that's also in this line. I have our friend Ethan, one of the great team members here at Counts Brothers, is going to spend some time and demo it out for us. We'll go over some specs as well. But at the end of the day, you're never going to go wrong with any of the guitars or basses in this series. Anything that Fender puts their name on, and especially anything that's a Telecaster, is going to be a quality instrument that's going to last for generations to come. Even something you can pass down one day, and it's always going to be relevant. Being one of the go-tos for studio musicians and for touring musicians, and I can't say enough great things about Telecasters. Ooh, that nigga's slick, buddy. never going to go wrong with any of the guitars or basses in this series. Anything that Fender puts their name on, and especially anything that's a Telecaster, is going to be a quality instrument that's going to last for generations to come. Even something you can pass down one day, and it's always going to be relevant. It's never fallen out of being one of the go-tos for studio musicians and for touring musicians, and I can't say enough great things about Telecasters. The 75th anniversary Fender Player 2 Precision Bass celebrates one of the most iconic instruments ever made. With a comfortable modern C-neck, rolled fingerboard edges, alder body, and a powerful Player Series Alnico 5 pickups, really delivers that classic Fender tone, and it's really a bass that players have trusted for decades. And now we're going to let Ethan take over with some tasty licks, but if you want to check out any of these 75th anniversary Fenders, come on down to Counts Brothers on Waverly Avenue in Muscle Shoals.